came in here to get some information to go out there. I could have kept it here. But anyway, we're all in the same spot.
Hi, everybody. We're good on that. This right here. So know this one?
Yeah, copy of the ordinance.
Yeah, but he's doing it.
George,
You're not gonna sit right there?
see that table?
Okay, yeah.
Hey,
Are you still in there?
No,
Ellis?
I'm Mango.
I'm Ellis, this man.
Okay.
Well, I'll get back a little bit since I ain't got some already shot up. Thank you. Okay.
Alright. Thought the cemetery committee meeting to order. Get a prayer by Councilman Mangle.
Let's stand, please. Father, we come today giving thanks to you, Father. Father, we want to thank you for the things that you're doing in our lives, Father. Father, I want to ask you if you would, Father, please bless this city, Father. Father, bring us together as a unit, Father, to move this city forward. Father, we just ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. We got a copy of the ordinances. Ordinance number 320, that's the original ordinance regarding cemetery.
That's right.
Okay. What about 332? First amendment to the original ordinance?
Yes, 332 just amended section 7.4.
7.4. Okay.
And it just added in that, if you look at the first one on 7-4, it pretty much stops when it says the purchase of cemetery lots to be in cash with no installment payments permitted. And then it says the cemetery deed will be executed at the next regular city council meeting following the payment. That's in 320. But in 332, it adds in each cemetery, the cemetery committee of the city council may be designated an area in which a single grave space. Yeah, it just adds that portion into it.
The first thing, guys, we all know that the current price is what, 150, 125, 150. What is it, Mr. Clerk?
It's going to be 125 because you have $50 per grave space and then $75. I mean, $50 per grave space for the purchase of the lot and $75 per grave space for the perpetual care. So that's 125 total. So the grave space is 50, perpetual care is 75.
And that's the care provided by the city.
Yes.
Cutting grass, cleaning up, or whatever, maintaining the grave sites, right?
Yeah, it goes into like a perpetual care maintenance account. And one thing that I want to bring up too is that the previous council meeting, I think it was Councilmember Hunter asked a question. I didn't totally understand what he was saying until I went and listened back at the minutes. So I think you asked a question about the funds. And we actually separate the funds, meaning the cemetery lot sales money stays in the general fund and the perpetual care money goes into a separate perpetual care account. So I just kind of want to clarify that because I think I said it goes.
Yeah, we need.
So yeah. Okay.
That's at least consistent with the ordinance.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Like I said, we talked about this once before with one of the previous administrations, and something we want to look at possible if, you know, I think we need to raise the fee from where we are now to something that, you know, a little bit more than what we're doing now, because like I said, the rate is going now. You know, we just added land to Handy Cemetery and Lafayette City Cemetery. I think we designated 5 acres. Was it 5? About 5 acres.
Yeah, something like that.
To add on for the expansion of Lafayette City Cemetery. And guys, we all know that, I know personally, I'm sure you guys probably too, that, you know, a lot of people coming in here and buying these lots for 125, they're buying them, you know, and probably turn around selling them for more, and nothing we can do about it. But the fact is, like I said, anywhere else, I got a copy of this, Americans. I pulled that off the City of Opelika website, and just even, you got no churches around here in this area. We keep talking about that, but it's gonna cost. We need to raise the prices, because cost of everything has gone up, and 125, that ain't gonna do it. I mean, the manpower and the stuff that we, to keep up these cemeteries, it takes a whole lot more money than that. So I entertain any comments, or anybody got any suggestions as to what a price that we should look at raising the fees to?
In a previous meeting that we held, and, the mayor, Mr. Hunter, myself, and the clerk, the attorney, we was all there, and it was in discussion of, when we was in the, meeting talking about raising sales tax and, other, fees that we may want to have raised, and we came up with a price, there in that meeting, of $500 for a grave space. And I don't, I'm thinking Mr. Green can elaborate if that price is in the ballpark to say, hey, that's a good price and we can work with that, opposed to saying, well, even at $500, we're still, just shooting ourselves in the foot. And that's what we don't want to do, is say we're gonna raise this price and then it's still not enough to make an, effect, to a benefit to the city.
What was the overall purchase of the land? Was it 8,000?
No, something like 14,500.
14,000?
Something like that.
How much land do we get?
Well, there
at
is, I think it's, I brought the map, I think it's like 4.5 acres, 4 point something like that.
3.5. 3.5.
3.5, okay.
And out of that, how many graves sites, how many plots do you think we get out of that?
What?
They get to cut in rows and all that stuff too, so actually about how many graves that we can get in that
If
3.5?
it's based on the section, if it kind of mirrors the section that's there, same roads, I'll say 2,100 estimate, but if we get, we get it, surveyed, laid out, we might can squeeze some extra space out of it, but if we kind of pattern what, based on the width and based on how long it is, and it mirrors the other one, I would say a couple thousand. 2,100, something of that nature, which is quite a few. If we don't lose any space. So that was my reason in looking at the future plan of this a little bit different. If we map it, get some surveys out there to get some pins in the right place. We don't, we lost quite a few in the last section, so, we don't want to try to repeat that. Not lose any space.
And two, you talking about mapping, if we're able to do the mapping, the GIS mapping, people that only, they should be able to go online and pull up the, cause I saw this on my website, they can go onto the cemetery, page on the, city's website, and you can type in the, deceased name or whatever, or whoever owns the plot, and you can pull up on the map, and it shows exactly what those plots are. So that's something we can get up to date on that, and that stuff on the call, so I said, all this stuff, goes into play too,
Well,
if we're able to do that too.
well, that was why I was kind of ringing the bell back about a couple of years ago, even a few months ago. We had a high sale, and we were selling them fast as I could do the paperwork, and I, still behind on that because, and we know we were getting people from everywhere.
And then too, they come here and they expect to pay more than 125. When we tell them what the price is, they're shocked. I can't believe that we're selling it for so low because ain't nowhere else. Look at with Opelika, for example. $750 a grave, each grave. That's for residents, and it's double for if you're non-resident of Opelika or probably some other cities too.
Well, my recommendation: make sure we hire the nearest church, because if we stay borderline with them or stay close to them, we still gonna get it because, you know, our cemeteries drive up, you know, it's clean, you know,
Oh,
we
yeah,
got it.
oh, yeah.
So it's well maintained and they gonna probably buy in with the city, so.
It's not out in the county, you
No.
know, where people are afraid to really go and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
it's
so,
clean,
yeah, all that makes a big
Cause
difference.
we don't, and then we talk about expanding the other area, in the future, we're gonna need a little bit more money to upkeep, so that is a good reason to, you know, the number you're taking with, somewhere in that range, from what I see is.
Well, I didn't know you was gonna get this. My sister's at Evergreen,
Mhm.
and I know that's the reason I said some places $750.
Yeah.
That gotta be paid before you even, the undertaker even
Yeah.
hit the dirt.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
and it's been said that we want it to be paved, you know, the road to be paved, and we want this done, we want this done, and
Well, you know,
just saying.
you know, I laid out $500, I mean, you know, I mean, in hearing what we're talking about, I mean, you know, I would even entertain as much as 600.
Certainly 500 would be a place to start.
I
Yeah.
think that's what.
Search-
I think 500 is reasonable. That's the reason I said the other night, even 500, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, that's,
Cause when you look at funeral costs and everything else, it just, you know, you gotta cut back on, it's budget. I mean, you got to look at the total cost. I mean, there's just something that's, you know, eternal resident, that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah,
A lot of other stuff, you know.
I think.
Yeah, and the amount, if we keep dividing it like we have been, some for the perpetual care and some for the cost of the lot, then the price for the lot should at least cover the cost of buying the land, doing the development of the cemetery, the
Yeah.
survey, laying
Yeah,
out the
do all
plots, paving, all those things, getting you to that point, and then perpetual care takes over after that. So that division ought to be such that we cover our costs.
Now, right now, on the unpaved road part and the existing part of Handy, we got about 1,200 feet that's not paved. 'Cause the first 4 sections is paved, so we got 2 roads and then a little cut. So that equals about, you know, 1,200 feet of it.
so we need to pave the whole part too.
And
Get
that,
it in
well,
line.
yeah, that's what's not happening, because they kinda open that up faster than they wanted to,
Yeah,
so.
Well, let me ask you, Mr. Green, on the new section, and I know how many, you know, I know the road layout out there. If we, to pick up even more grave sites, if we chose not to put in maybe 2 roads, how much more would that, I mean, now my point in thinking about this, I know we will have to deal with the travel of equipment going across all that stuff or moving around. But if it's sold right and counting stuff, you know, you may have to deal with less moving around graves, you know, because you'll be moving on out all the time.
Well, the thing about it, the sections now is pretty appropriate for the equipment to get in. And that was one reason of looking at it, is keeping the roads the same, so you don't have so much zigzag. And, so, I think if we pattern the blocks like it's already in, they can just go straight all the way across, even if they come down the side, the trailer park, they
I
can
got
turn
you,
and go
yeah.
all the way
All
through
the way
it.
across, yeah.
And then one road will go all the way back around and tie right back into the one that's coming down by, Miss McCurdy house.
I got you.
So, you know, it don't be too much
I got you.
zigzag.
Okay. Well, it was just a thought that, you know, I know we could probably pick up, you know, a few more graves
I
if we
think-
didn't have a
I
road.
think the
to it.
survey will probably make it a little bit better now,
Mhm.
because before, you know, it just kinda
Right.
opened up without any measurements
I
and
got
stuff
you.
like that. That was the reason of looking at it that way. And currently, right now, I brought some stuff, I've had all the old maps put on waterproof paper, Tyvek paper. We also been the last, you know, 2-3 years trying to improve everything. We got them on disc now, all of them. CD-ROM, all except one section I didn't hand it, that's that back. We still trying to modify that map, but we done did a verification on all grades. So the numbers might conflict a little bit, but we got a map now actually of where everybody is, and we still working on that. And other than that, they've been all brought up to speed as well. Now, some downloading still need to be done, but it takes a lot of time for me to sit in there, you know, to put it. But I got it charted out and got it on the system. But even if something happened to our maps, I've had them burn them with this, so we can always go back and reprint them and things of that nature. So, been a lot of work done on that part to get up to speed. But we plan on growing. It means, if we don't get it right now, it just means a bit bigger mess. So that's why we want try to budget and get some surveys, get some pins. If they put some pins in the ground, they put them metal ones in there, they can go out there in the future and just take metal detector and find them, or some type of landmarking or something.
How much time and manpower do you guys put into just cemetery each month? Do you do it on a monthly?
Summertime,
I mean, it depends on, summer versus winter.
well, in the winter, we did a good job in getting it to where it don't make no, bigger mess. So now we just have to go out and plant a little grass in the winter to keep the, keep the greenery looking. Summertime, it's every 2 or 3, constant. So, and then we go out most of the time this year in the wintertime, we go out and try to do any improvements, like kind of straightening up some headstones or leveling them up a little more, because we got a little bit more time. But we spend quite a bit of time, They all in good shape now. Keep them constantly clean, So we try to do that. Right now, we redoing the flagpole. We done took it down. We took it down to refurbish it. So we doing that. We're gonna get it back, especially at hand. We make some good strides on it, but it's kind of hard to record the time because we might leave the cemetery and go here and there. But summer months, it's just.
What if you had somebody that was assigned to just work cemetery, and just deal with the cemetery and all that, keeping up with the plots and?
Well, that was the kind of person that I need to do this paperwork, kind of that system with it. Because it's easy to go out, showcase it. And the record keeping is not only important for grave sales. Every 2, 3 times a month, we got monument companies coming back. Then I had spent a lot of time going out there remarketing them again because it's just what you said. They don't have the ability to find out what nobody had. A lot of the funeral homes don't put the temporary markers in because some funeral homes in the business to sell monuments to sell. So they don't, that if you go with a little metal, it's out there for years and the person will know where it is. But some of them don't put a temporary marker. So
what if we came up with an ordinance, something to require them to put something out there to help identify, so?
well, that would be good. Now most of them have started doing it, but some of them don't do it.
Yeah.
So now I'm out there, Valley Monuments, or somebody might need to do 4 or 5 graves, So sometime I got a chip off to go out there and mark them all. And then, you're dealing with 2 cemeteries, So it's a lot of time, so a lot of paperwork involved if you do it right, And, in my explanation of it, 50, I get some calls sometimes that people been dead 60 years and they want to know where they at. So some of the record keeping was done great, and I can go out there in 30 minutes. Sometimes it might take 2 hours, and you don't know where they are, or you have to narrow it down. So that's why I know how important this is, and that's why we need to get the next section correct.
Yeah, so I think we need to require people to, temporary until they can get their headstone, and also require them within a certain amount of time to put a headstone out there.
Some of them don't, and that's
I'm
why we
saying
got a lot of unknowns out
That's
there.
what I'm saying, that's what something we need, moving forward, I think we need to require people to, they're gonna bury them in our cemetery, but, at least they need to put headstone on something, markers, headstone.
Now, in this,
uniform.
in this new section, I think we had talked about how we want to do as far as ensuring that, we make it easier for upkeep. Like Rest Haven down there, they got, all their stones is in the ground.
Yeah.
So when they run across there with lawnmower, they wide open.
Yeah.
Right.
It don't take all that,
Yeah.
anybody gotta worry about bumping nothing and all this kind of stuff.
Damages.
Now, I think, I'm saying that, but I also think that if you look here on Garden Hill stuff, for some reason there's space for $750, and then in some more sections, there's a section some for $1,000. So I'm thinking that they are allowing some monuments or something like that in these spots here maybe, but at a higher price. Now, I don't see us having a problem with probably doing that also, you know, a far section or even the very beginning of the section or something like that, wherever, you know, we deem fit to do that, and then just have a higher price because it's gonna take more upkeep.
On your mausoleum, it takes a little bit more room, but most times the people will buy all around. Because if they buy, like, don't buy right in front of them, somebody put a headstone, then you can't read it, you know, we got one situation.
At $125, they can buy the whole road down to that.
Well, it already has that.
This is what, you know, we face.
Buy the whole plot.
This is what, but it's a long more process. That's when I brought the form that started with this form, you know, you showcase it, come in here, fill this out. When we do the deed, it starts here, you got deed transfers, you got replacement deeds. So sometimes it's not even the sale, somebody need to transfer some deeds. You know, we got a form for that. So now we're trying to keep them city, handy, you know, we don't have to deal with rushing too much. Or sometimes the funeral home don't call you but 12 hours before a funeral, you don't know what they want. It's very, you know, I could be all for they change their mind, so it's some tough
So
stuff.
I don't really look at a fee for transferring deeds and all that stuff, but,
But
you
no,
know, you got,
it's no cost.
but I'm saying that's
Just
something.
writing that down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's no
Oh,
cost.
it ain't no fee for the transfer either?
Or replacing.
Yeah, we look
And
at
I have to do that. Is it Lewis anyway?
No,
No, it's not.
No wonder we got people there from Chicago and everywhere.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work.
And I think, too, maybe a fee for residents of the city, and then if somebody look at a different fee for non-residents. You know,
Some churches like that, I know, I don't remember.
you look at that one, Opelika, like I said, they charge double, if you're not a resident of Opelika, it doubles the cost of whatever you paying for a grave. You know, something, man, but you gotta do better than what we're doing, I mean, that one
Yeah,
twenty-five.
125, I know, you know, we ain't gonna,
Now,
might well
what we
believe it,
looked
we
at,
gonna still stay with
we got some
125.
lost spaces out there because some graves got misaligned. And we kinda use those, we kinda use those for cremations, because they're not 4 or 5 by 10, so we, you know, a lot of cremations now. So if a spot not really big enough, we kinda showcase that for a cremation, and we haven't lost the spot, you know what I'm saying?
What's the price of a spot like that?
They the same. They the same. But the problem is about a cremation, it's not a vault.
Right,
In the future,
on sink and.
well, not in the future, a person go out there, we use a probe, you don't see nothing, you dig it up. But we try to encourage them now to put them kind of like in line with the headstones up there. And it don't never be breached because you don't normally dig up there by the headstone. But you know, we run
kind of where we could divide it for cremation down this way and
Yeah,
then regular grave.
Designate a,
Yeah,
area
designate
for
area
this
for
cremation, so
Yeah,
you know,
you
and
can-
nothing over there but cremation,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
because sometimes it's something as small as that box is out there. You don't know it's there, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we need to
I try to
designate- we
keep
need
up
to
with it now.
Identify that section, we need to have a
Yeah.
section just for cremation there, because if you just hoping and praying, you don't dig, you don't know,
Right.
that ain't good.
you wouldn't know it if somebody didn't keep a good record. You wouldn't know it.
I think we need to have
People
that
are, people,
designated and marked, I mean,
but people are gonna want their remains near family members sometimes.
I'm sorry.
But what they do now, you know, even if they give up a spot, they put it up there near the headstones. So it don't, and then they put up sometime maybe a little mark about this small right up, and they put it under it. We came up with that idea because, you know, you can't tell it's there, and it'll get dug up. I promise you. I'm not gonna be here all the way in, you know, so person going out there probing for a grave, they gonna dig it up. So they kind of put them, we kind of enticed them to put them up there by the headstone. They done by one little pair hole.
But if we come up with it and say, I'm sorry, these are the rules, I mean, this area is designated for cremation
It-
only, I mean,
it could
they gotta put them there, or they can go somewhere and put them somewhere else,
Yeah.
you know? We got to dictate, you know, we making the rules, and we can't keep going wavering back and forth, you know.
We get a lot more cremation now, you know, cause of
I
expensive
think we need to
funeral.
designate a part of this, you know, in both cemeteries, all our cemeteries, you know, if they wanna go, you know, make an area
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. We came up with that idea because we figured out we need to do something with that space.
And, you know, we gotta remember, this is our, you know, we ain't talking about the old one anymore, we talking about now is the time to set the rules for the new.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Moving
Yeah.
forward, yeah. Like I said, last time everything was done on this stuff was when,
you know,
we got the budget for the mayor, on the last, anytime,
Last one, I think.
365.
no,
It happened. 1990, I think.
1990.
I know.
Yeah.
My budget was here 97, 377. Wow.
1998,
Yeah.
437, sir. I was looking at three. I was looking at 332.
It's time, it's time, so.
Okay.
Let's go with, go, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, I mean, you know, let's talk price first and then move on to other stuff.
Yeah.
So
And
we're
in the
looking,
price, we need to figure out how much goes for the cost of the lot and how much goes for the perpetual care.
so initial cost for one grave space would be $500. Or should I say, would just say every grave space is $500, full grave space, $500.
Yeah, and that's to take care, I guess, perpetual care and
Mhm.
But then how do you, we have to figure out how to divide it.
divide, I guess, 250 each, yeah, I guess.
Well,
Well,
no.
No, I was thinking let's do
because
250.
the cost ought to cover the cost, okay? And then the perpetual care ought to be some kind of estimate of what it's gonna take us to take care of it forever.
Yeah.
So probably like, it ought to be like it is now, where you got more in perpetual care than you
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
in the cost of the land and the preparation of it.
Well, that's true.
I mean, what do y'all think as far as $100 for a purchase and 400 for perpetual care?
I think that'd be more reasonable. Does that sound good to you, Mr. Green? Is that,
It takes quite a bit to make it.
is a hundred a piece gonna cover the cost of the land and the paving and the
Well,
layout?
I wouldn't think not. Cause
You don't think so?
I
Okay,
think,
well, we should try to cover that in the cost. So,
I had an estimate done on the roads that was unpaved,
yeah,
probably 2 or 3 years ago. Small estimate, and it was like 20 some odd $1,000.
okay, so.
Which wasn't bad. You know.
So that's for the new part of Handy?
No, that was the filling in
The
the
whole part-
unpaved.
The whole part, that's unpaid.
Just that one part.
Okay,
And that was just for 2 rows, 25 dollars?
okay.
I think it was 20 some thousand. And that was us having, it got a good base on it. That was them not putting a base because we done put some gravel and they done packed good. So it wasn't like they had to come out, put a base.
Okay,
That was just taken from one guy, so, you know, bidding competition might make the number go down.
so we need to figure what it's gonna cost to establish the cemetery. Cost of the land, cost of the survey and putting out markers, and cost of paving. Okay, plus, are we gonna put ornamental plants or anything? Landscaping anyway, grass.
Well, we let it grown up, you know,
Yeah.
seed itself. I don't
Yeah,
know whether we're
well,
gonna.
but you have to put something down to begin with for it to seed itself, or do you just take whatever blows in?
Well, it's
Most of
covered
that's
now.
already done.
I mean,
Yeah.
we let
And
it,
the new part?
we let it naturally grow back up.
Okay,
It's-
all right,
It's covered. There ain't no erosion.
that's fine.
The guy did
Okay,
a pretty good
yeah,
job in that, you know.
okay. So, we need to have some idea of how much that costs, so we can divide that up and cover all the front end cost. And make the price of that, and it also has to include the cost of the paperwork that you're talking about.
Well, let me just ask, I mean, you know, now, don't give me, what I'm saying is just questions. And I understand, you know, we're talking about perpetual care as far as, you know, how much we wanna have there. You know, and the way it is now, there's a lower price on the purchase and perpetual care is 25 more. So do we wanna kinda stay with that same, if we can, that close number to each other, the way they are? Or, you know, do we wanna be, or is the perpetual care gonna need to be much more than the purchase price of that space? And like I said, you know, the 100 for the purchase price and 400 for perpetual care, you know, if that's gonna do it, that's fine, you know.
That current breakdown, just for percentage wise, I don't know how they came up with
Mhm.
the current breakdown is 60-40. Means 60% of that amount goes toward perpetual care, 40% goes toward the cost. But I just did that, that's
Right.
simple math.
Yeah.
It's 125, 75 of it is this, 50 of it that, so that's an even 60-40 breakdown, but I don't know if they meant to do that on purpose.
Right.
So, Scrooge, I think the purchase of the land and what we done spent cleaning off, we probably got, what, $18,000-$19,000 in it so far?
I say easy.
Okay, and then you're gonna have to pay, and you mark the corners and survey it.
And this is just, we just talking about Handy right now, we talking,
Yeah.
and now they talking about the
Well,
the 3.5 at Lafayette City
Yeah.
Cemetery, so.
Right,
No, that's the 3.5 in hand.
3.5.
Oh, 3.5 Handy,
Yeah, that's
5 at
yeah, but we're talking
Lafayette
about
City.
2,100 graves in there, and we're coming up with cost numbers for what it costs to get this, to turn this piece of land, to buy the piece of land and turn it into a cemetery. Okay, so we're talking about, what, you said 14,000 for the land?
I think it was 14.5. The correct market, I know it was around 14 something.
Okay, so it's 14, so let's call it,
We just said 14,000.
say 14,000 for the land, okay. So now then the survey and,
Well, we had it we graded
Okay.
most of it. We spent about maybe 5 in it, with 4,500 and another 500-600.
I think that's,
okay,
something I checked with Mr. Lamb, I think something else he did, I think it was like 4,000,
Yeah, it was about.
something.
I think it might have totaled a rough estimate 5,000.
so this 5,000 for what?
Grading.
Yeah.
Grading, okay. Okay, and then,
Right now, we're to the point to where
survey and.
surveying,
And marking,
by the time they map it, they
How much-
put their survey on.
how much is that gonna cost us about?
That's
Don't know.
surveying now is kinda hard. I mean, they probably charge. I put in the budget to start off with about 16,000, I think I got in there. That was a start, I didn't
No,
think we
that's
could
an
do a
estimate.
start one.
Were you thinking of, do they put pins at the corners of the grade, or at least, what do they do, the sections?
Lay the roads out so we can maximize the amount of land we got. You know, find the corners and do all this kind of stuff,
Okay,
and then
and you think,
maximize the width of the, make roads legal, and all that kind of, get the width.
so your estimate of that was what?
Well, I put in 16,000,
Okay, well, let's just,
Yeah.
we just start,
Yeah.
we're just practicing.
more or less.
16,000 for survey, et cetera. Okay. So what other costs do we have as far as getting started?
Next thing will be the roads, that's
Okay,
something, I don't know
roads.
where you wanna look at doing that,
Well,
in the beginning or
we ought to do it right.
midway point.
Well,
I will say this, we don't need to do phases. We'll be
Okay.
doing phases 20 years from now, so if we're gonna do it, let's go ahead and do this thing right,
Okay.
get it over with.
well, but even so, what we're trying to do is come up with the cost, so,
Yeah.
we need to figure the whole cost.
Then some of that one money for the 1 cent sales taxes, you wanna know about, what we're gonna use some of the money for? We're gonna use some of that 1 cent sales tax money to pay for all this stuff too.
I don't think
You
so.
don't need, but it's
Paying
kinda,
for
it's
something,
kinda
something
impossible
start
to
getting cut.
get all the amount that we gonna need, because once they lay the roads out, then somebody have
How
an
many
idea.
thousand you talking, say that again, how many thousand for the road?
I just estimated
Just
6.
give it to me.
Well, what I was trying to do was just come up with a number that I think
Okay,
would work with.
what's the number, Mr.
Well,
Green?
I put in the budget 16,000.
16,000.
But wait, that's the survey and
I
the
don't know
roads?
how far that's gonna go. I just,
Is that
that's
the
the number
roads?
I kind of
Okay,
estimate.
wait, you said 16,000 for the survey and it's 16,000 for the roads?
No.
No,
16,
okay.
mapping,
yeah.
survey,
16,000 take care of it.
land and cemetery out there where they hand it to us on the map with all the grading.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about roads?
I would say the road's probably gonna be $30,000. They
Because
just,
either road, we talking about paving, right?
yeah, through the street.
And how many roads is it gonna be?
It's about four,
Four roads?
four.
That would be the total for all the roads or just each individual road?
That's total.
Total about
Total.
30, and it runs about $30,000.
I
And just a guesstimate, we
yeah.
know we just guessed.
We just
We
did.
just
This
guess.
is just starting number.
Yeah.
We're not putting anything in concrete at this point. We need to have some idea
Yeah,
so we can see what the cost is,
No,
That's what we do.
okay?
so, we're talking about each road, what, 12, 13,000?
where each section will be about 100, maybe 150 feet long. Then about, the curving section in there is like 300 some feet long. So, mm, so we might be talking about maybe half a mile of road, something.
Okay, let's see, for 2,000 lots, that adds up to $65,000 what we've come up with so far.
Yeah.
For 2,000 lots, that's $37.50 a lot, okay? So, even if it's double that, 100 would cover it.
I see what you're saying. You're
100
saying the total.
per purchase space.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
and then the 400 for perpetual care.
Okay.
Because to me, the perpetual care is the hard part.
Yeah.
Because you gotta put that money somewhere where it draws enough, makes enough income to cover the cost of doing all that mowing and other work that these people have to do. You know. So I think that makes sense.
Okay.
And some decades, some centuries, the roads will have to be repaved. And there'll be other improvements like that that you have to do. You have to repair the flagpole.
Okay, while we're there, do we wanna list that as being residents of the city of Lafayette?
I think so.
Okay, so now what we wanna do as far as, outside the city?
Well, let me ask you a question before we go any further. What if somebody purchased a lot that lives in a field, but the burial is coming from Atlanta, New York? So how do we find, cause these are the people that need a little.
Well, I think
They
we
people
need to
hate
look at
how we
whether
talk.
that person going in the ground at that time
Yeah.
is a citizen of Lafayette. I don't care who purchased it.
Well, what about pre-purchase?
Pre-purchase, if it ain't, at the time this go into effect, it's gonna be from that day forward to what we do. Whatever's already out there is fine. So if you've already purchased it, you're good. Now, from this day forward, I don't care who purchased it, how they purchased it, or anything like that. I'm thinking it should be, if you're out of town, you don't have a light bill, or something,
What's
you
the,
know.
what's the mechanism though for, enforcing that though?
Mhm.
Like if I buy a lot today, say it's like if I live in the city of Lafayette, I buy a lot today, and then 10 years from now, I wanna bury my cousin from somewhere else. What's the mechanism for saying that I gotta pay the different price that I
I
paid?
guess-
Well,
And I guess that's what we brainstorm at.
Well, when they come do the paperwork, so we bury this person, they gotta contact City Hall, George, whoever, and say we bury him.
Wait.
Let me finish talking,
Yeah.
okay? They come in and say we buried this person or whoever, we should be able to verify whether or not they live in the city or not. I mean,
Okay, let's just suppose
No, it's
that
gonna be hard.
you're a resident of the city of Lafayette, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and let's suppose that you die, okay,
eventually, yeah.
all right? And you die before your wife does.
Don't have a wife.
Well, if
Yeah,
you had one, okay, all right. Who's got a wife around here?
Go ahead.
George?
I guess I got one.
Wait a minute, you got one, Mr. Hall.
I got one.
Hey,
Let's
he,
use me for
he
today.
trying not to kill out him or his wife, that's why he wants somebody
Kill
else.
us all, go ahead.
Let's just
Go ahead, go
suppose
ahead.
that the husband dies first,
Mhm.
and the wife, 20 years later, lives in a rest home in Opelika, okay, and she dies.
Mhm.
Are you gonna charge charge her more to be buried next to her husband in that lot they bought together, those lots they bought together?
No, because what you just said was they'd already basically purchased those lots.
They had already purchased them, right?
Mhm.
But she's not gonna use it until, and when she uses it, she's not a resident anymore.
It don't matter, it's already purchased.
Okay. I thought you were saying that,
Okay, so you mean at the time of purchase?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then if they, okay, see, but what we'll have, George, correct me if I'm wrong, we have people just buy lots
mhm,
and then bury people in the lots that they already
Yeah.
purchased.
mhm.
We need to,
So
so
then-
who's going in there, who you putting in there?
Let's,
Say they bought it.
and I guess, you know, we throw this thing around a lot because, and what Ms. Ellis is saying here is, you know, basically, I guess what we would probably get caught at is probably the people who's already purchased these. Like Ms. Hunter said, you know, as for the husband and wife, that would be fine, you know. But if you got me living here in Lafayette, and at the time of death, I'd just come up here and buy a couple of lots and stuff, and then it would be the city's place to say, who's going there? Okay, or the resident of Lafayette. I know it's a little bit more work, probably, but
But I guess, when I say the mechanism, I mean, okay, say like, if somebody buys it, somebody from the Fed buys it, and then 5 years from now, they wanna bury their cousin who's not from here. And then we say, well, now you owe an additional,
Right.
what's the mechanism if they say, well, I ain't paying that? So then we have the police go out there to keep somebody from being buried, like, I mean, I just wanna think this through.
Yeah.
Because,
well, if you still look at it, once they make that purchase, they got the right to do whatever they want to with it.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say, it's a slippery
But
slope, the
that's-
attorney might need to
that's
look
not
into the
what
cost.
Councilman Magnus saying.
Well, they just set a certain price, then
Right.
be down with who
What,
who can
that's,
carry
that's
it.
why I would say that,
Just
because,
stick with the price then.
Yeah.
because you deed.
In
it.
Lafayette, anywhere they can get it done, but you know,
I-
it's always a
I
problem.
think that's the reason the city deed them, they has the right to put whoever they want.
Yeah.
That's part of the
Mhm.
deeding part.
Okay.
They
So-
don't do that.
yeah.
But I need, well, maybe we need to talk to Opelika, how they doing there down there, cause they charge double if you're not a resident of Opelika. So,
That's probably on the purchase.
that's all perfect. But then see, the thing we're talking about here may come under section 7.5.
That's what I was just getting ready to say.
Transfer fee.
775 actually say owners of lots shall not be permitted to sell or transfer lots without the written consent of and approval of the mayor and council members of the city of
right.
Lafayette.
That's why
So
we,
they ask
that's
on the
why we
form
do
when
the
you buy
transfer.
one, they ask who is it for? Don't you ask the question, who's the lot? I mean, who the plot is for? Don't you have to put a name on there, who's gonna be
No.
buried? I thought.
Well, we do that, but sometimes they just
But I'm
come in
saying,
here and
if that's
purchase
on
it. You
But
know?
I'm saying, if that's on the
Like 10
form,
spots though, like,
Mhm.
but still, they have to name who they, you know, so we have a record of, that's kind of,
Well, I don't,
I hold these people, you know, then it's, now I wanna put so and so, so in there, okay, you get a transfer, or do something different, I mean,
George, if somebody come up here and buy, because I know recently we had somebody bought, what, about 6 or 7 at one time. They don't have to put any names
No.
on who's
No.
gonna be in.
They'll have people about 12.
yeah.
And it,
Yeah.
but that's the
About 10
reason
or 12.
that
I can
part,
remember my granddaddy bought, a section there with
That's why they
10
price
or
it.
11 in it, 10 or 12 in it.
Charge some of that.
And, but he knew, and the family knew, who was supposed to
It
go
was
there.
to go to the family.
Yeah, it was all family
Right,
members.
and you don't wanna put a stop to that, even if the family members aren't living in Lafayette when they die.
Right, right.
Right,
Right.
you wanna take.
Because one of his plot, one of the spots out there was, when I was growing up, I don't know how this man got to be a family member of ours, but he was in Lafayette, he was at my granddaddy's house, you know, 2-3 times a year. And so when he passed, he buried that, you know.
Close friend, you know?
Okay, well, $600, that'll take care of all that, $600, how about that? I mean, just saying, we looking at like all these other paving the roads, doing all the other stuff. Like I said, we're not even talking, it's just, we're talking about handy right now.
But that's why I was,
With the
that's
addition,
why
what we gotta
I
do
said
at
I would
Lafayette
be
Citizen
willing to
Material.
entertain $600,
$600,
you know, on all the things that we're
$300
talking
for the
about
grave, and
doing,
$300 for perpetual care.
you know.
Then, like I said, if they wanna buy 100 of them, they can buy 100 at $600 a piece.
Well, but you can also get them on the transfer fee.
Yeah, we need to come up with a transfer fee.
now, I think you might need to consider maybe a transfer fee, cause it takes some time.
Yeah,
and-
no.
But yeah, we
Paperwork.
should have one, just, you know, if it doesn't do anything more than cover the paperwork cost,
But what about replacing the deed? Most people lose them.
yeah.
We have to do a replacement deed all the time.
Well, you know, I'm gonna tell y'all, it's the same thing that I mentioned when I talked to some of the other departments. Anything that this city is doing that is a cost to this city,
That we're doing for free.
we ought to be able to
Yeah, they
tack on something,
Yes,
you
absolutely.
know.
I agree.
Now, I do wanna mention this, and I don't wanna get too far off from where we are right now. We keep talking about the Lafette Cemetery and the spot that we kinda said would be for opening up more space there also. Now, what everybody may not know, I think there may be a problem there as far as it being a rock bed there.
Yeah, it is.
Behind that fence, where we're talking about trying to go maybe, I'm almost certain there's gonna be a rock bed there, and that may be the end of that cemetery lengthwise.
Possible.
Can we get that checked out?
Well, we have some issues where we ran into it if you dig in the back section. But
We need to identify that area then, so we'll
Well,
know.
Yeah.
the only way you would maybe do that, we have to go out there and just randomly dig.
Just go and dig, yeah.
But we keeping it cut, it's not overgrown, so the maintenance on, but to be honest with you, we ain't gonna hardly span out there no time.
We ain't gonna get that no time soon.
You got plenty of spaces out there. We got about another 2 acres to the left, right back of my house that we haven't even touched yet.
Good.
So,
Should be good there for a
We
while.
good with numbers there. I don't
But how do
see
we,
it.
you know, but what,
It's just, I
I
think,
think we need to identify what the rocks are.
I think for that,
We need to
once we
know.
get ready to do more with the park, I think that would be a good time to get there and see
Yeah,
what that area is really like.
yeah. Go out there and
Because
dis-
we should have that heavy equipment in there anyway.
Yeah,
we'll
to
have enough,
excavate
you
it,
know,
put it
yeah,
there.
yeah. So I think that would be a good time to really find out.
Okay.
So it's not urgent.
No, it's not,
Whereas the
very-
handy-
Had it pretty urgent, cause we
Yeah.
down to how many now?
Yeah,
About 55?
So-
I got somebody
so-
want 9 right now,
so
so.
we
Yeah, we need to go ahead and just.
we just heard a number of 600, what do y'all think?
Everybody agree, I'm good with 5 too, if that's.
I'm good with 5.
I'm
I'm
good.
good with 5, I mean,
Five
you know,
seems
I'll go with
competitive.
6.
Okay, well, yeah.
I just,
Well,
5 is,
why
Fair.
don't we-
125 to 5, that's,
That's competitive.
why don't we go to 5,
500.
100, 400?
I don't care how you get it, it's
No,
5.
Well, it looks like, you know, from the cost estimates that we've got here, that $100 will more than cover the cost,
That's fine,
okay? So the rest of it ought to go into perpetual care.
yeah,
that's fine.
400, 100.
Looks, I think
I
our
said
budget had about
250,
60,000.
100.
on it.
100, 400, I think it's.
I think the clerk might can remember. I think our budget, even though we have 60, 70,000, I think we always stay a little bit below it. I think we average about
But the
60,000
cost-
a year for us.
But
The
the cost is
cemetery.
gonna keep going up.
Yeah.
But that's
Right-
because we
right now,
in
we
pretty
need-
good shape right
Right now, we will start right now, your whole budget is wiped out.
You need equipment, man, I mean, you
Well,
know,
that's-
you
yeah,
know what I'm
that's-
saying, you need,
It's
because,
take-
you know, you look at, this equipment stuff, it's not cheap, and you need up-to-date stuff, man, we spend more time and money on repairs and these vehicles, I don't know, you know,
Yeah,
that we got right around with the City of Fair logo on them, man, I mean, we need to look at, it's time to, you know,
absolutely.
we need to improve on that, and part of this money, I mean, whatever, we need to,
Yeah, and part of this perpetual care
it would take care of it.
needs to go for equipment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
they need
Not
to, you
for
know,
new equipment
then there will be
maintenance
no
over the
excuse
years.
as to why something ain't getting done, we give you everything you need to work with, you know,
I
you
need
guys doing a
somebody
great
to
job.
do the paperwork.
You need somebody to do the paperwork.
It's a lot. I'll be
Yeah,
honest
you're
with you.
absolutely right.
It's a lot.
But I'm saying, if you had somebody to do the paperwork, that's what I'm saying, looking at assigning somebody, that's all they do is cemetery, they ain't gotta get on the street doing all that, they got enough to keep them busy in them cemeteries, to upkeep and, or majority of the time, they can do the paperwork, they do if somebody come to buy a plot, instead of coming to you, they'll free you up, somebody that's capable and able to do that job, and that you can train, and that's what they do.
It's gonna take somebody away from an department. for-
That's what I'm saying, you have somebody, we put somebody in that position, that's all they do, is just deal with cemetery.
Well, they don't, they could, it's enough for them to do, update maps,
Yeah,
doing the deeds, I think Lewis, his staff up there do all the typing of the deeds, you know, when it come out from back there, you know, it's finished on this form. Because, you know,
But that costs money.
it takes some
Somebody
time.
gets paid to do that.
Yeah, and,
So we're paying for that cost already.
yeah, we start with this one,
It just doesn't
finish
show up
with
in
that one,
cemetery.
and we also have
How
to
many
file.
pieces of paperwork do somebody have to do?
What?
Can they go, what if we put this up on our website, where they can go on the city's website and,
It'll be great.
and pay, do all that paper, a lot of that paperwork online? We need to get into the 21st century too. A lot of this stuff we're doing
Yeah.
But
by paper, and all
Main
that stuff.
thing is we can't go to 21st century till we get this.
we this right here is not even off the ground like it
We
needs.
might be talking about $40,000 or $50,000 just.
That's what I'm saying,
for that
you know.
software.
Yeah,
Then again, everybody saying everything is all right in the city, we don't need nothing.
but, like I say, that's just the beginning of it. I mean,
Until they come and ask for something.
yeah,
I'm just saying, it's gonna take money to run this city.
Yeah.
If we want to get up to where we need to be.
You can't keep doing like we did in 1998 and 87 and.
Some of this stuff
62.
should have been, you know, taken care of
So,
15, 20 years ago, but they probably wasn't selling grade and, you know, like the rush and expanding and all that kind of stuff, so.
We know we were hit with a pandemic.
Yeah.
5 years from now, who knows what we may be hit with again.
That's true. And
So,
we ain't prepared for what happened.
Right.
what we've just done, then, the number, we're set on 500.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we need to move to any other, we need to implement any other fee dealing with transfers or anything like that?
Yes.
My recommendation is,
$100 transfer.
So what, I don't know what, I have no idea what it's gonna take or,
But see, that's where you could do the, that's where you can recover if they're transferred to somebody that's not a resident.
Mhm.
$100 transfer
now
fee.
that's true, that's what you could.
Okay, so is $100, suitable, Mr. Green, as far as what has to be done?
I mean, it sounds like a reasonable number to start with, it's all
That's a
just
start.
like purchase.
Better than
Well,
zero.
I'm just-
So we gotta go,
yeah,
because we gotta go back through redoing the deeds.
Yeah.
You might have to go, if we map this thing, and we, you know, you got one name in the system, you gotta go back and change all that stuff in the system, on the
Right.
mapping system.
And you have to get it right.
Yeah, now, and not only that, each
Do the
time,
attorney get involved when they have to do transfer deeds?
no, that's all back there. And see, each time it changed names, we have to go back in there and update that map.
Yeah.
Because
$100.
the other person's name's still there, you have to do a lot of stuff. And the way I got it now, I got a transfer book, handy book, city book,
Yeah.
all the information that comes over the county, you know, we still, and it's a lot. And
What do y'all
something
say?
comes up, you have to
Y'all agree with at least $100
Let's
transfer?
go with that, yeah.
replacement and,
Yeah, replacement too.
or they lose the deed, they'll.
$100 should take care of
Yeah,
it.
I think that's fair.
Paperwork. So
Okay.
we really just basing that on paperwork,
Yeah,
time,
Replacement deed,
replacement.
you got
deed.
replacement and you got transfer.
alright, how much on replacement deed?
I think the same on, you know, whether we doing either one of them.
Yeah.
$100 on replacement. Anything else dealing with cemetery money-wise that it's gonna take to, anything you're doing right now, Mr. Green, that you can think of that is gonna be a cost to this city and when it's not given away to our citizens? Any of this paperwork here, as far as these three things, all that's taken care of right here?
Yeah, we transfer, we replace, and then during the regular
Actual
deed,
space.
will be in the actual, cost of it. And we also now, we send out, a ordinance as that's just part of the process that me and Lewis and all us come up.
An ordinance to the citizen that's buying?
Right, cause what happens is, you know, we have some cases back, people come out there, put up all kind of stuff, then you can't cut the grass.
Right,
We
right.
got flowers, benches,
So,
so they read that ordinance, they
Okay.
know what they.
so how much is it, I mean, is,
Now, that could be, that part of it with the sale can be fine with, I think, with the.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, that's normal.
Make sure.
That's normal
Yeah.
business.
Until let's see about putting this on our city's website, let's get that thing up and
Yeah.
get more stuff added. I mean, people can go in and click on cemeteries and know
Everybody
everything, the
already-
rules,
Yep.
the costs, everything need to be on, I think need to be on the city's website, so. you know.
And see, it's in the ordinance that if they buy 2 or more graves, they're supposed to buy the corner mark. They don't, some do it,
So
some
we can
don't.
put it out there so people know, we can put it, you know.
Or, we need to figure out some kind of way, if they buy 8 graves, then now I gotta go out there and make a temporary mark.
Do they, okay,
So-
corner markers,
It's in the ordinance,
I
they,
understand, is that something that they buy it, you say they have to buy corner markers, where do they buy it, from you or? from-
no, they buy it normally from a local monument place, you know, with their
So
mission.
let me
Okay,
ask you,
that's-
this. Let me say this, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but that's a requirement?
It's in the ordinance.
It's in the
Okay.
okay, well, I was just about to bring up, enforcement of the ordinance is another expense, okay? That needs to be covered in the perpetual care fund.
So, do you have any idea what those markers cost?
Different places go anywhere from $25 a piece to,
Okay, so,
you can get a 4-inch, you can get a 6-inch, you can get.
okay,
I would
my thing
say
is, do
4.
we offer as a city, okay, Mr. Clerk,
Alright, we got
do we offer as a city to say, okay, if you want, you gotta have these corner markers. You're buying this space, you gotta have corner markers. We can add it in, additional 500 plus, whatever it is, you know, we will go to one place and get them,
Right.
okay? Valley Monument or whatever down here, we go down there and get them, and they're $25 a piece, so we tack you on another $100.
That sounds like
Yeah,
a good plan
and-
to me.
We have to go out and install them 90% of the time. Well,
So-
99, because they won't put them in the right place.
So,
They
see,
get off
and
too
it's only right that we do it.
Right, yeah, that's all I'm
yeah.
saying, because they wouldn't put it in the right place.
Yeah,
Okay.
we charge them a fee.
Yeah.
that's part of it.
So anything over 2 grave spaces, or 2 grave spaces or more,
Right,
you gotta have those corner markers,
yeah, and the minimum 2, you know.
okay?
Some people buy 4, but if
Okay,
they got 2, it's a good reference point when I go out there, I know, I look like, well, that's,
okay, so do we need to be consistent here,
Right.
2 or 4?
4.
My granddad and them got 4, and we've always been able to go out there and know, that's it.
I
That's,
don't know what the ordinance says,
that's-
how many,
that's the
I don't
area.
wanna say something the ordinance don't, you see what I'm saying?
Maybe we look at amending the ordinance, I mean, if we need to change the
I'm
ordinance.
gonna say this, Mr. Green, let's just go with 4 and be done with it.
Yeah.
It give you top and bottom, and you're done.
You might have to go back and revise it if it don't
Yeah,
say.
we can do
Okay.
that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's if they buy.
4 corner markers, 2 or more grave spaces.
It's in here somewhere, I think.
Okay.
If not, we can get our attorney to,
4,
but I think it's in here.
4 plot markers.
I'll be done with it, and the next time we meet, for sure I can read it exactly, but I pretty much know this thing, and,
2 or more spaces, you need 4 markers. If the city's gonna go out, get them for you, all they gotta do, we will have to get a form, so we don't get the wrong initial, because you know how some people are. Let them fill out that paper, what initial they want on it, and we go get them, and get them put in. And we need to, that's just, yeah. Mr. Green, you can look and see what these plot markers cost, and then we'll just deal with one little place,
okay.
you know, or whatever.
Okay, it's on page 2, I don't think it says how many,
Page 2 of which one?
320, it
320.
says all corner markers are required on all lots in the cemetery.
What section is we in?
It's on, under 320, on second page.
All graves in city cemeteries, admission, vaults,
So basically, you don't need a marker with 1, I know, but 2 or more.
Yeah, here it is, okay, 711. Permanent corner markers are required on all lots in the cemetery. All lots, 320.
So, what,
All lots.
what's considered,
Section 711, yeah.
what's considered as a lot is 2 graves.
Two graves.
Okay, alright. long as, you know, we understand that or whatever.
Well, that's what if I remember right, the 720, yeah, a lot is 2 grave spaces.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. So, that's fine, we're good on that.
I think in section 7.4, any person desiring to
Yeah.
purchase a lot,
Right.
2 grave
2 grave
spaces
spaces.
shall pay the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the later.
7.4, it must be on another one.
Later.
It's on the
law-
320.
Okay.
At the front,
That's right, I thought,
what you talking about?
I thought I read it, kind of remember just, you know. Yeah, and you know, the purchase of the equipment we use, you know, it's $10,000 to $12,000 the more we use.
Okay, so,
You know,
so
That
any
is
more
better.
costs that you can think of that we need to try to implement here?
that's pretty good.
So looking at that, go back to 7.4 for a minute. Where it says about the, multiple lots may be purchased. 7.4,
Which ordinance?
320.
320,
Okay.
Yeah.
almost to the bottom.
Did that change anywhere? I mean, before this? We're talking about buying multiple lots. Price, purchase price includes the $50 per space
Yeah.
and $75 per space perpetual care.
Yeah, that's what it makes it $125.
So a lot is 2.
Right, but I'm saying, if they buy 8, 9 lots, and they're supposed to pay,
Yeah.
okay, that's
Yeah.
included, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
In the problem.
See, basically, this 500 right here, what we're saying, just right out, is per grade space.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
you can make up a lot all you want to, but it's gonna be per space, you're paying that
If
500.
you buy a lot with
Yeah.
two spaces, that's $1,000
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the two.
If you get a lot, if you get a lot right now, we would go to $1,000.
Right,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay. That's why I just double check.
Yeah.
All right.
Right now, you can come in and buy 10 grave, man, you won't even be out of $1,000.
I have had, I sold 12 this year at one time. But,
Would he, did he make enough to even pay your workers?
and normally they bury at friendship number 2 of them. And their reason was that you could drive by, look at them.
Yeah, okay.
They got an aging group up there, cemetery not maintained,
Yeah.
So
that's what that's.
we'll look at getting this ready, get it to the city attorney for first reading, maybe look at the next council meeting.
Yeah.
Then after that, the next agenda, bring it for a vote.
But I would like, this committee to heavily consider, us keeping good records. We doing a pretty good job, but
Yeah.
all the stuff I got going on,
Oh, yeah.
it's impossible for me.
Yeah.
And these is not out, a lot of people purchase them, and sometimes it take me a month or so to get these out. And if you read the ordinance, it says, when you buy a lot, the next council meeting is when you're supposed to get your deed. So, it's a
Gotta
lot.
tighten up there, Mr. Green.
I know. I gotta get Mr. Hunt, you know.
We gotta help him.
Yeah. So,
I agree.
the reason I brought that situation up I had before, it was also help with zoning. I mean, we have a lot of stuff going on around town, you know, all these zoning board meetings, it's a lot of work to get them things just
It's a
to
lot
a
of work,
meeting.
yeah.
You know, I work a lot of hours. We got several stores now finna pop back up for more zoning meetings, so, we collect a lot of money on building permits, but, you know, I can't go back and check it, you know, we don't need to write a whole lot of permits, we can't be fair about it. We lose a lot of revenue there, but, you know, we don't lose the revenue, but we try to get as much as we possibly can. So, those are some of those small holes, if we zip up, you know, sometimes, some weeks I might do $1,000, $1,500 worth of building permits. You know, I can get out, try to make sure we get the license now, you know, make sure we get the revenue that we're supposed to get. You know, 'cause a lot of people come in here and work, they're on our time, but we try to close that, but we need a little help. Cause we always got trails put in place. I know we're in cemetery meeting, but I'm just trying to get you guys to bring in. So when that thing come before the Board of Adjustment, it's a lot of work being done. businesses. You know, we have to, you know, I don't wanna delay them, and I want the city to delay a business from being owned, you know, because, you know, we ain't, you know, prepared. So we, you know, we try to help them, and a lot of paperwork. And not only that, they gotta be filed and kept up with. So some players I'm struggling now because stuff wasn't, you know, record keeping wasn't good as it was. I got a lot of unknown graves out there, and that doesn't look too good. We don't need to go in that direction.
Okay. So we're good on the $500,
I think that's a fair
Fee.
price.
then a $100 transfer and replacement fee on the deed,
Mhm.
then, corner markers.
Now, let's get this straight on the corner marker now. If they don't wanna purchase them,
But if the ordinance said they're required to have one, they gotta have one.
Yeah.
I mean, that
We
should
need to
explain
give
to
them,
them.
we need to give them 30 days
Yeah, the
to
deadline.
go out and get them, if they don't want the city to do it.
Yeah.
Now, the city is gonna also, you know, even though we're saying 30 days, Mr. Green may not even be able to get it taken care of. But it's in his hand, it's in the city's hand, that it has to be done.
Or they show proof that they purchased it, and now the money.
But they gotta bring it to Georgia.
Bring
to
to
get it
Georgia,
down.
right, to show that they purchased it, I'm saying,
Mhm.
yeah.
So additional, let's find out before we talk money on those markers,
yeah, I will listen.
cause he'll need to get, you know,
Let me call this.
Yeah,
a
Okay.
price
Right,
and
and all
see.
that, we'll
Yeah.
come back another time for
Yeah,
that.
that'll be something.
We'll put it in, and it'll be in there, but we just need a money amount to go with it
Mhm.
Yeah.
right away, as quick as possible.
Right, I can phone call to figure it out.
Get 2 or 3 different style of whatever they may do,
Yeah, and
whatever.
we need to cover the installation cost too.
Yeah,
Right,
well, that's true, they
Yeah,
take some
'cause,
time.
you know, you get for your 4 markers, you know, they don't get in the right places
Yeah.
by accident.
yeah,
No.
you gotta have that tape measure.
We go out and we make sure.
Okay.
I think that's some good stuff, and I hope I brought you up to speed on how we get it, and
Yep.
what we run up against, and sometimes people with the film ain't always on time, so it makes it a little bit tighter, but we always manage it, but.
Say too, like I said, you know, updating our website and.
I will
get-
say this too, I don't know if it's in the ordinance or something. I know you brought it to my attention.
Right.
By having these open grades.
Open
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you know, the grade is dug and left open, and then somebody might be going to check on a low one and fall in an empty grave.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So,
Wow.
Who's doing open grades? I mean,
Well,
who?
you know.
I mean, we're saying that people are going out there digging them and then they leave, and then somebody else would come along later. Well, you know,
They need to be covered up.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it the day before,
Flag or something,
it need to be covered up until
Yeah,
that body is put in.
yeah.
Well, I tell you this,
Because guess what?
Let's make,
Guess who
let's require
guess
that
who owned the city cemetery?
We
We
do.
do.
Yes.
let's, well, you know what else I saw? I just read? There was a great, funeral going on somewhere. City owned everything about the cemetery, and the city, you know, do all the final,
the excavating, open and close.
so
Mhm.
they were putting the man in, and the strap broke, and the casket fell on in there, and the body fell out. Family members standing there, and family members jumped in, of course, you know, they made a big thing of it, and, you know, bodies leaking fluid and all this kind of stuff, so, you know, you got all that kind of stuff. So, as far as the open grave situation, you know, we need to require that they've got plywood or something laid back over it.
We constantly talk to the funeral home people,
Mhm.
because if you read the ordinance, the funeral home is who's responsible for it.
Mhm.
Even if the work is not done
Mhm.
properly, we can go back and we can charge them, you know, we try not to do that, but
But hey, man.
some of these
You
graves,
gotta do it.
and it's been a battle, I ain't got to tell you that, but
Mhm.
we done clean handy up from.
Yeah,
On
so
this.
some stuff, yeah.
But it looks, they do a better job, but it's been a fight, but we get a situation where number of hours grade been left open, and overnight have been in that situation.
Well, we need,
And I really brought it to his attention.
So what do you recommend? We need to, we need to.
we'll
come up
find,
with
we'll
something.
just-
we,
It need to be in our ordinance, I guess, you know, that no grave is to be left.
unattended and open.
Unattended is a good word.
Yeah.
Some of our workers can step out there, and you can't see it, I'm telling you.
And then we set hours grave can only be dug between these hours, the city gotta be notified, and only between these hours.
Normally,
It
I
can't
go
be
out
left-
there and flag it, I put it up where they
can't be
do
left
it, they take a
open,
chance, right.
unattended, yeah, you know.
But this is come, this
No
is
more
sub,
than 12 hours before the funeral, I mean.
well, I mean, this is sub work, who works for the funeral home.
Well,
They
that's-
might dig the grave, then the funeral home come and later on put the vault in, and it's left open.
So we need to come up with something to,
And, you know, then, you know, I think some of them scared to say something to this person, blah, 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 but.
you know, we'll once, ultimately, like
Well, they
the
on
mayor
city
said,
property, though.
they on city property, you know, we gonna be having, if somebody gets sued, we gonna be
I
right in
tried
there, we
to-
gonna be at the top of
I
the.
tried to stress that importance.
Well, that's why we making the rules, these are the rules they got to abide by, we'll notify all of them, or put, like I said, put it on the website, or they ain't called about a grave, whatever, these are the rules, I mean, they got to know.
And I
hold
have had
people-
to
hold
stay
people
there
accountable.
till the funeral home get there. This done happened since me and you been out there.
No,
Or either my parents said we put some stakes and flag it, you know, nobody to be seen or that,
they put some of that staff people out there, just,
You know.
hold the grave.
you know. I know how old hole is and dangerous.
Yeah.
And dangerous, you
Yeah.
know. Somebody just looking to get, they could, didn't they?
A lot
The
of
falling
A
out.
lot of people do, a lot of people walk in the cemetery for exercise,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and not seeing that and fall off in
Yeah.
there, break a leg
Just
or
sitting
hip.
there, and out there viewing somebody, you shouldn't
Yeah.
have fake no open hole like that in the ground.
Yeah, well,
It's been like that more than one time.
Do we need a provision in the ordinance that says that they have to notify us when they're gonna dig a grave?
You know what needs to happen, and I think it's already in the ordinance, is that anything that's not done right,
It's,
we need to just send them a bill. And I
Yeah.
guarantee you,
yeah,
Look
it
at that
is-
road,
it
like
is.
even just,
I,
you know.
I mean,
is.
that probably will turn around quicker than it
Oh,
does.
yeah,
But
that'd
they
be-
need to notify the city when they're gonna dig the grave, so we can check to see
No.
if it's. to
Well,
see-
our time,
Normally
Miss
they
Green
do.
gotta go level.
I said, I didn't say normal,
All
I
time,
said we
all
need, it
time,
needs to be a
man.
requirement.
Nobody gonna dig on our property
That
without,
don't, we got one funeral home that they goes out, they got a map, I don't know how they got it,
no, we
but
need to
they go
address
out there
that,
and
we,
dig graves.
No,
Okay.
no, no.
I don't
hey,
even
hey,
know
hey,
we
anything
need
about
to,
it.
that's why we the city, we need to put a stop to that,
What's the
They gotta
fine
come
gonna
through.
be?
yeah.
I mean,
That's, this is happening.
I'm just
Well, I
saying,
know,
this,
I know.
we
Let's-
trying to
let's-
address
let's-
all
Mr.
these,
Green.
this what,
Here's what need to happen. You know who these people are, right?
Mhm.
You need to talk to the mayor. Mayor get it to the attorney. We send
Exactly.
that company a letter and just say, hey, look, what they call it? Cease.
cease and desist.
and we post it, we put it in the paper, I mean, we publish it.
Nah, I
No,
think
nobody
you-
digging no
I
graves
think
until
that
they
was-
come through city hall and been approved
That was a
by.
good recommendation, but.
What I'm saying,
let me send
nobody-
a letter.
Nobody should be digging no grave until it's come through city
But you gotta
hall.
put a fine on it.
Yeah,
That's right.
and like, again, go back over like, they said, you know, they got to where
Yep.
the, grave diggers, those people can't even be on the site when the funeral's going on. They find them $100 if they got anybody from the, they can't even be, when the service
Standing
going
around
on, they
waiting.
can't be, they're
Having a
not even
beer,
allowed
having a
on
beer
the,
over in the next
when the
street.
funeral going on, they're not even allowed on the, at that cemetery.
That could be a good idea, but, you know.
Well, I'm saying, we got to
Yeah.
do,
Well-
you know, we can't keep doing business as usual, man. The people don't respect, if they don't respect the law or the order, the stuff we put out there, the city, these are the rules.
Okay.
But they can't be come and do it that way, either go somewhere else and do it, bury them somewhere else, but these are the rules, you gotta stick to the rules.
It done took a little while to change,
But that's
but some of
okay.
it have, I've kind
But
of
now,
noticed that.
You can change them, all it does, has to do is cost them
But
money.
I think the next time one is open, with the
yeah, I'm
mayor,
really concerned
I'll
about.
make a
open grave.
recommendation to the
okay.
mayor.
now, we need to go and put something in place now saying that
Yes.
Yeah.
ain't no more grave gonna be left open and put it out there.
I mean,
Number one, they notify the city when they're gonna dig,
Right.
okay? That gives us the opportunity to check. Then there's a fine for leaving it open. There's a fine for not notifying, there's a fine for leaving it open,
I
okay?
agree.
but that's something you need to bring,
Well,
bring to the
that's-
table. It's a problem,
Well, we need to address
he
it,
said
that's
it
why
was
we don't know nothing about, cause I get tired of sitting in the council meeting and hearing something for the first time, and
Fine for-
and it's been a problem for a long time, and nobody knew nothing about it, only, you know, put it out there, man, I mean, they got to get it in gear.
Unattended grave, fine.
Well,
$200.
$200,
digging without notifying the city.
$500.
$500. And every time they're gonna come, everybody gonna come to sit out, they're gonna get in gear, cause now you know,
I think you need to send them a letter first.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
that's
oh,
right.
yeah. When you publish it,
we
you go
publish, put in the paper,
Put it
I mean, in the paper, and
to
send
the
a
paper,
letter.
on the website.
But I'm
You
saying,
send it to all, I guess, all of your local funeral
Mhm.
home directors.
Yeah.
then we put it on the city website.
Yeah, now, it need to be
You know.
before you know what's going on.
You know what I'm saying? Send it, put it in the paper from this day forward, once we pass, or we approve it, put it in, publish it, send the letters out, whatever, I mean, to all of them.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, put it on the city, we need to update that city website anyway, put that stuff out, the information, man, we
Very much.
put it out there, you know.
I
City
think
has-
I think this will take care of a lot of some of the problems that we got.
Yes.
Price
Send that-
increase
send
was
that, talk,
number one.
get with the mayor, and y'all get that
If there's a
letter
problem,
drawn
yeah.
up as far as dealing with whoever's got a map or whatever, before they,
No, nobody
stop all
did.
that digging. You gotta come through City Hall.
Yeah.
We got people in
I
place.
never know who they even
Yeah,
buried,
we got
if they even
people
in the
in
right place.
That's what I'm saying, that's a problem, man, that's what we
Be
need to,
honest.
we need to know that, George, I mean, that's a problem. They shouldn't be out there digging no graves without coming through City Hall,
No, they should.
without you knowing, City Hall knowing what's going on. So that's,
City
you know,
property.
that's a problem.
Yep.
Either, starting from this night forward, I mean, we need to get this thing in place to where
I agree with you.
they have to come through City Hall.
Even to the point where I saw there, where it said, no funeral, no date, no burial on what?
On
Thanksgiving Day,
Thanksgiving,
Christmas Day,
Fourth of
Easter
July,
Sunday, 4th of
Easter
July.
Sunday.
We gotta control the narrative, man, because again, because if something go wrong,
Now, I
the
did.
city, we gonna get sued, the city gonna get sued, all of us gonna get sued individually, and I'm not gonna, then something come up that's, well, we knew about this problem, y'all didn't do anything about it, so
Yep, that's
you
right.
okay with it.
Now, I've said the local funeral homes, like the one right here on Fayetteville ordinance before, I gave all of them.
Well, we're gonna put it, we need to start enforcing it and
Yeah, and make sure they get an update on the new ordinance and new,
That's it.
everything, prior, whatever.
everything, yeah,
Cause they need to tell whoever,
yeah,
things gonna go up.
let's put it out there, man.
Yep.
All right, so we're good on that.
So they can make adjustments in their funeral cost.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Instead of trying to say that person that $2,500 suit, you know, they know this family got to put,
I've
bury.
said-
But I'm
I've
saying-
said that all
I'm
the
just saying,
time.
I mean, hey, they're in it to make bit money, but still, the family got to decide, hey, number one, we got to have somewhere to put it,
Yeah.
That's the first time.
But
But we the last one they call, I'm telling you,
Well,
I
I'm
get
saying, but
called
we need to be the first.
12 hours sometime
No,
before
no,
a
no,
funeral.
no. They never go to win approving nothing until they gotta be approved.
Well,
I mean,
you know,
we gotta come through you.
Here's the thing, Mr. Green. If it's gonna put, let me tell you, if you go up to the city, big cities, you can have a funeral today, it may be next week before you even get thought about putting in the ground. So I'm just saying, if we make everything to the point to where, okay, they wanna notify you 12 hours beforehand, I need 48. So now I'm gonna push you out 48 hours before
Exactly.
I can get everything taken care of for you to put y'all can change the funeral date.
Now,
Exactly.
To
You
be
gotta,
honest with
you gotta come through City
to
Hall
be honest with
first.
you, I almost had a fight with somebody because,
Well, that's it.
but this is the thing. The family is who I think I work for. Cause the family,
Sure.
with the deceased person. The people want to dig the grave, want to go out and dig it quick as they can cause they got other places to go. Well, the family asked, Paris was family, asked for us to research several places in the cemetery before we made a final mark. Well, the people went out and just dug where they thought the grave was going
Who
to.
did?
The vault company.
No. See
So-
what I'm saying?
So
That's
what I'm
not-
saying is they don't have any contact. Well, why y'all hadn't marked it? Because we've been in contact with the family, not the funeral home. Cause the family was the one paying. You see what I'm saying? We talked to the people who paying.
Yep.
So the family might not have wanted it over here. They wanted us to do a little research. It
Exactly.
rained a couple of days. I couldn't get to it. So we had 24 hours before the rain. Then we goes out and we mark it. So, but the grave was dug in another place, assuming.
That's what we're gonna.
But now I had this spot marked for cremation with this person's name on it. They never even got off the equipment to read what name was on the stake sticking in the ground.
So they gonna dig a grave.
They just dug that grave right there, and I was like, well, who name on it? Well, we don't look at that.
But we need to
Well,
have
I'm
something
like,
in
that's
place.
why you dug it in
We
the
need to
wrong
have,
spot.
that's why we put these rules, we update our ordinances and all that stuff, so stuff like that happen, they gonna have to pay a price for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They can't go out there and just do anything they want, they don't own them city cemetery, man, they gotta respect you.
They
We
don't.
give you, we assign you to deal with that, you got a problem with that, you need to
But
bring
one
it.
thing about it, Mr. Green, you can't no funeral home
Do nothing.
do nothing.
So I'm off.
You mark.
Right. These are the rules.
And like I told you now, like I just said now, if they're putting you in a crunch, that you gotta rush out there, get it done, get it done. And you know what, you just let them know. It can't be done until Thursday evening. You can come back Thursday and we'll deal with it. You want it in the ground Tuesday, I can't get it Tuesday.
Exactly, you don't.
Sometime I'll read the paper and I know it's gonna be a funeral at Handy, and I ain't never even
And
know.
they ain't saying that, they ain't saying
That's
that.
what I'm saying, that's what, that needs to stop, man. I mean, that's
They
what,
gotta stop.
you gotta stop.
That's not doing.
They gotta come through City
that's not
Hall.
doing- That's not even doing good business.
No,
Okay, so we need to revise the ordinance to reflect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Let me work on that and I'll get with Mac and
Yeah.
put it in the work.
Yeah.
Next time we meet, I
Okay,
can say
we need to have that, we need,
what times, you know.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm training him and
Yeah.
that map is not easy to read.
Yeah.
So, you know, you don't wanna make,
but the main thing is the price, we talked about that. The price is on a different thing, and make sure, they gotta come through City Hall. Nobody go out there digging nothing until they come through City Hall.
I agree with that.
You know.
I'll talk with Mac.
Paperwork is straight, the family, I mean, you dealing with that family, the consumer, I mean, that, you know, funeral home, they gonna take care of that business at the funeral
Yeah,
home,
they
but
will.
anything dealing with those graves,
Yeah.
those cemeteries,
That's our responsibility.
That's our responsibility.
they gotta do, and whatever the ordinance, whatever your rules are, they gotta abide by your rules, or they don't get it done, man.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, if push come to shove, and what I know about the way these big cities work, you may not get buried, they go ahead and have a funeral.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They have a funeral.
Everything in
It
their
just
line.
ain't going in the ground,
Exactly, cause they ain't did what they supposed to do, it ain't right.
you know?
And they can't go, places doing what they wanna do, you know, I'm saying,
and digging where they wanna dig.
That's right.
No.
don't work like that.
We'll work on those two things. I'll have some information. I always try to dig it up and we'll,
You have
I'll
it.
try to get Mac to come up with some language that,
Oh, yeah.
you know, make it
Yeah,
sound
yeah.
good and, you know, we'll
Have
read
that
this
language
ordinance
right.
and see what we need to make it
Tell them that,
put another line.
tell them don't just throw it
Yeah.
somewhere else.
No, I'll stay on with it, you know. I just tell them to add some more lines
Just
in
saying,
here with the language, once we talk about it and you guys approve what it's saying.
Okay, no problem.
And I think this will, you know, we got a beautiful place out there now and we need to keep it that way.
that's right.
But we don't know all our way to get that place looking good, it is.
Not the next council meeting, but what, the one after that, that gives
Yeah,
us
it should
time,
be, yeah.
not next week,
Not
but
next week, yeah.
the second,
Yeah,
The one in December, yeah.
first one in December.
that'll give us some time to do a little research for the corner markers.
Yeah.
Yeah, first council meeting we have in December. Give us, that gives us time to get everything in line.
Yeah, it will. I won't put a rush on George this week.
Right.
Yeah, corner marker price and,
No more rush than usual anyway.
what else y'all want me to research? I know the corner marker price.
Talk about the unattended graves, find out about unattended graves, and,
Has to notify the
somebody
city.
who's digging and ain't supposed to be, shouldn't be digging.
Well, they have to
Right
notify
away,
the city
yeah.
first.
Right.
Time to prepare, that's what,
Yeah.
that's the word we need. Cause we got a lot of other stuff going on, other than just waiting around for them to call.
Right.
Of course you do.
Well, you've already, you hit it on the head when you say you've already seen that this person's probably going to Handy Cemetery and ain't nobody said anything.
No, it's in the paper,
Yeah.
or it's online, you know.
Phil will be at Handy Cemetery, you ain't been notified.
And whenever you mark the grave, you know, some of them is excellent. It's just calling you time the family leave, making
Yeah.
preparation.
Yeah.
One funeral home is just, they top. Cause they know they gotta have somewhere to put that person regardless, but I'll say again,
Still,
Funeral home
if
make
they
it-
ain't got it
they make-
right, if they ain't come through City Hall and got it approved by you,
Sit at the funeral.
by the city,
funeral home making the money, we getting
they
it.
can put them back in the vault down there,
Like
in
you
the
said.
morgue. I mean,
They can
that's-
spend $2,000 on the casket.
That's what I'm
We
saying.
need part of that money to maintain that cemetery.
That's right.
And that's what's really going on. We getting the short end of that.
Well, now,
Plan.
it's time, we don't have no money to do nothing else, we finna start making this stuff right.
I think so. And it'll slow this sale down, just people just come out there swamping us. So,
I guarantee you, out of that whole Handy Cemetery right now, we just say, since it's not full yet, I sell what, 60 at some grade, I say out of 95%, 75% is out of town
Yeah.
compared to
We get so many people from out of town, man.
Yeah.
It's scary.
So,
Yeah, cause they know in their city and town, they can't,
yeah.
they gonna pay $500 to $1,000 to bury somebody.
I know, I was sitting around out hearing this lady saying, hey, you know, we don't took care of this part, and said, okay, we're gonna take care of this part, and how much is the grave? She said, well, we might have checked grave, he coming from out of town, and they gave the price at, how much? Well, give me 5. You know, just that quick.
This just a quick number.
Yeah.
Section 6 in the Handy Cemetery, we got approximately 500 graves, supposed to be able to get 500. We sold them at 125, which we didn't get the whole section. Would have been 62,500. If they'd have been $500 a grave, it would have been $250,000 that one section. So we lost a lot.
But I'm saying, because the upkeep, man, I mean,
So you see the difference?
Oh,
Yeah.
man,
Oh, yeah.
what's it?
people that own property, you know, you pay more than $100, $200-300 a month, getting your grass cut at your house, you know.
Yeah.
And you pay $75 to get it cut for a lifetime, gee.
I hate to say it, man, but just along in our church, man, we talking about buried out there in the swamp. It's
Yeah.
more than $125. And you in the middle of nowhere.
You gotta go ahead and keep it clean
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Hard to get somebody to cut it.
Yeah.
You know the feeling.
Man,
You can ride through
yeah,
this
man, you
cemetery
talking about,
we
man, if it's raining, man, you can't get down in there.
No,
That's how far it is.
Yeah, you
On
can
dirt
ride.
road, storm, when you go get off that pave, man, you talking about riding the dirt road 5 miles, man, just get to the cemetery.
Meeting adjourned, guys,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Shoot, man, you talking about, man, you talking all that.
but that's some good stuff come out of that thing, guys.
Yeah. The main thing, don't let them push you around out there, man. You
Trust
know,
me. You know, that one thing.
about that follow fighting, and then you know what, if they don't wanna go by the rules, they can get banned for not even, they won't even be able to bear,